Hello everyone. This is Oni, and today for you I have a review for TriFox. This is a action platformer game developed by indie studio Glowfish Interactive, not to be mistaken for Blowfish, and was published by a company called Big Sugar. It released for PC, Xbox, and Switch in October of 2022, and then a month later, in November, it hit PlayStation. Now, before I get into anything else, I just want it to be known that I actually got a code for this game for free from the publisher for the purpose of the review. But, as usual, that does not affect the review because my thoughts are mine and mine alone. So, here's some random gameplay for the game. I think I was near the end of the game when I recorded this, so if you don't want any spoilers, you can listen but not watch. And if you don't care, anyway, let's just jump into this, shall we? One day, as TriFox is enjoying a lazy day and watching television, his TV suddenly breaks, and he's not sure why. So he decides to get himself up and go outside, only to find people stealing his cable box. Why it's on the outside of his house, and how that blew up his TV, I'll never truly know. But I digress. So, after being hit over the head, he follows the trail of gears to a series of mysterious worlds to defeat the fiends who broke and stole his stuff, and get it all back. As you complete levels and defeat bosses, you end up seeing news presses on a TV in the hub area. Whether these actually correlate to anything or not, I'll never actually know. Sometimes there's news presses, sometimes a villain is laughing or yelling at you, but you never understand it, as the language in the game is all gibberish, and the devs never actually put any words to the random noises. For all you know, they're talking about how they're hungry and they want to go get a pizza something. We'll never know. The gameplay is a twin-stick shooter with platforming elements, all tied into it. When you first start the game, you get to choose between one of three classes, which are Warrior, Mage, or Engineer. I went with the Engineer, and this ended up being a long-range damage dealer that could spawn turrets or lay down traps for enemies to deal with. As I got further in the game and bought all of my class's skills, I ended up buying some Mage skills, and this is when I started really mixing and matching the class skills, because you can have any skills from any class you want. Though the caveat is you can only have 4 skills at once, so you really need to think about what ones you truly want. As you progress through the game, you end up going through less than a dozen levels. This does not include the bosses. Some of these went relatively quick, but there were a few that just dragged on and on. But I will say, they were absolutely beautiful to look at, and there were quite a few secrets to uncover if you keep your eyes open and destroyed stuff, or you find hidden paths. The platforming itself felt a little bit floaty for me, especially with the abilities for each class that helps with the platforming. You get a ring under you to see where you're going to land, but it was also annoying watching for that ring instead of watching the character himself. When you're running around fighting enemies, the one thing I couldn't stand is that you had to stop using whatever weapon you were using and press the other weapon buttons. So every class has a basic attack, and if you press another button, the other skill doesn't get used. I made this mistake so many times during the heat of battle, wondering why my other turrets would never go down. Now, the other thing the game could have used, even though I wouldn't have used the feature itself, is co-op. It would have been awesome to have the ability to play with someone who's making a build different from you, and seeing who could deal the most damage. But maybe that'll come in a future update. TriFox is a fun little game, where you can create a class that is right to your liking. The platforming is fun, even if a little rough, and the gameplay is a fun, frenetic time. It would have been better with co-op, but oh well. It's at least worth an afternoon of your time. And that's why I'm giving TriFox a 7 out of 10. Now I hope you enjoyed this review. Again, it is on a little bit of the smaller side, but again, it was a smaller game. I find myself having a hard time writing reviews for smaller games because there's just not as much to talk about. But if you want to keep up to date with everything that I do, I'll have my Twitter link in the description down below. If you'd like to join the Node Gamers Discord channel, where you can talk to me about this review, past reviews, or games in general, the link for that will be in the description down below. If you'd like to read the written article from where this work is pulled from, again, it will be in the description down below. So, I hope everyone has a good morning, a good afternoon, and a good night. And until next time, goodbye.